Well, today isn't the best day to be a Rockets fan. Houston was blown out yet again by the Los Angeles Lakers, and James Harden made it extremely clear he wants to be traded out in his post-game interview. He's made it pretty obvious on the court too, playing extremely passively over the past few games, not even scoring 20 points once in his last 4 matches, which is the first time he's done that since 2012 when he played on the Thunder. John Wall openly criticized Harden today as well, saying it's hard to win when teammates don't buy into what's happening. So the Rockets' future with this current core is on thin ice. From what reports say, the Rockets have struggled to find a suitable deal for Harden too, due to the steep price that they have set, so they're in a pretty big dilemma right now. Do they trade Harden as soon as possible to make him happy? Or do they continue to wait for the right trade to emerge? In today's video, I'm going to be discussing what I believe the Rockets should do in concern to a James Harden trade. Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. I'm trying to hit 16,000 subscribers by February, so all support would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, with that all being said, let's talk about James Harden. Harden wishes to be traded and will most likely be so by the trade deadline. That's not really a question anymore. As much as I would love for Harden to stick around for the season and commit to the team, it's clear he is out of it and wants to move on, and the Rockets will probably do everything in their power to find him a suitable new home as soon as possible. However, I don't think that means the Rockets should just rush into a deal that won't give them a lot of benefits back in return. Harden is a rare talent. He's an MVP caliber player, so I agree with our current approach where we've set a high bar of what we want. The Rockets have to avoid getting robbed here. It would be stupid to trade Harden away for a few solid starters and some draft picks. In this situation, a young stud is almost necessary in return. I've seen a lot of people underrating Harden's value lately, fans claiming they'd rather have Tyler Hero than James Harden, but here's the thing, you put Harden on any team in the NBA right now and they get better. Almost every team would be better with Harden on their side, but since everyone loves to hate on Harden, they're overlooking that simple fact. Just because Harden has been passive lately, just because he's been a bit of a diva, just because in the last few seasons he's been an ISO-heavy, ball-dominant player, that doesn't mean he can't and won't change and will be a negative for your team. If that leaked conversation between Steph Curry and Mike Budenholzer is true, Harden wants to play beautiful basketball. Why would he not allow himself to do that if he was traded into another system like Philadelphia, Brooklyn, or Miami? I just don't understand where these thoughts come from and why people view Harden as a negative asset when in reality, he's one of the best players to be available on the trade market in the last decade. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that, yes, the Rockets should look to trade Harden, but they shouldn't rush the process. Get back exactly what you're looking for, or you could end up in a horrible long-term situation. If that means keeping Harden around longer than expected, then that's okay. But again, I think trading Harden where he wants as soon as possible just to please him is not the right move. The Rockets should make this a very deliberate process in order to get back what they need to start a good rebuilding/retooling process. So now that we've discussed how the Rockets should go about a James Harden trade, what should they actually ask for in return, and what would a potential trade package look like? From what reports have stated, the Rockets wish to receive a proven young star and multiple draft picks in return for Harden, which as I've gone over, is completely fair for his caliber. If you remove your bias, you'll realize that's what a top 7 player in the league is worth, and that's exactly what James Harden is. So, what teams can support that package and provide what the Rockets are searching for? There is one team that stands out above the rest, and though a potential trade with this franchise does have its criticisms, it's in my eyes the best possible team the Rockets could make a deal with in regards to James Harden. That team is the Philadelphia 76ers, and to keep it simple, the Rockets will receive back Ben Simmons for him at the very least. I've seen a lot of people be confused about why the Rockets would make this trade, but my real question is, what is wrong with this trade? Because personally, I can only see the Rockets benefiting from it. Simmons is the best player the Rockets can get offered at this point, and though the fit at first may be poor around Simmons, you can make more than one trade, so the Rockets can make more moves to change that. The idea of building around Simmons is very exciting. The Rockets already have numerous shooters that can support Simmons' playmaking game, and also the combo of Wall, Simmons and Wood to me is very intriguing as well. I'm not saying it would be perfect, but I think Simmons on the Rockets has a lot of potential to be great. This trade also makes a lot of sense for Philadelphia too. A duo of Harden and Embiid would almost guarantee them title contention for this season, and with the roster they currently have built around Embiid, it would almost be a match made in heaven. Harden would like to go to Philly, it's one of his preferred destinations, and Embiid is currently playing at the highest level of his career. He's an MVP frontrunner, so this trade just makes too much sense across the board. Again for the Rockets, though the fit may not be great at first with Simmons, that can change with more moves made, and when trading a guy like James Harden, you obviously want the best possible player / package back in return. There are no other teams in the league currently that will be able to offer anything near what the 76ers can do with Simmons for Houston. This is a must-make trade, in my opinion. Overall, this is what I believe the Houston Rockets should do regarding James Harden and his request to be traded. Don't rush into a trade to get him out as soon as possible. There's going to be a lot of teams on the market pursuing him, so to make an irrational move would just be dumb. The cards lie in favor of Houston. They control the market, so it would be irresponsible to not make the most of that position. As for what they get back, I think what they're reportedly asking for is fantastic and fair, a young proven star and draft assets. Ben Simmons is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, a two-time All-Star and a player that can be easily built around for the long term. He is everything the Rockets are searching after in return for Harden, so if they are able to secure him, I suggest they pull the trigger. Honestly, I don't think it's too complicated for the Rockets about how they handle this Harden business. It's just the side effects of keeping him around whilst they find a suitable deal that is potentially hurting them. The further we've gotten into this season, the less energy the team is playing with, and it's unfortunate to see as a Rockets fan. I'm only 16 and have been watching the Rockets intensely since 2015, so the James Harden era in Houston is all I've really known. So it's gonna suck to see him go. However, there are a lot of positives to it, and if the Rockets can get a guy like Ben Simmons back, I think they're setting themselves up really nicely for the future and their rebuilding process. Easier said than done, of course, but that's what I think the Rockets should do essentially. Try get Ben Simmons and draft assets to go along with it, and you've got a great building block for the future. We're gonna have to see what happens, but if something like that can go down, I would be very excited about the future in Houston. And that will conclude my little rant. What do you guys think of this? What should the Houston Rockets do with James Harden in your opinion? Should they trade him, and if yes, where to? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.